It's locked.
Boss Spearman sits on his horse on the open grasslands along with his partner Charlie Waite, while their cattle graze nearby. They are accompanied by Mose and Button. The group set up their tent and rest inside it during the rain. The men pass their time playing cards and Button cheats. Boss reminds him that a man's trust is a precious thing, and one should not lose it just to win a game of cards.
Man's trust is a valuable thing, Button. You don't want to lose it for a handful of cards.
Next morning, their wagon gets stuck in the mud, and Charlie tries to free it. Meanwhile, Button asks Mose if Charlie dislikes him, but he assures him that it's not the case. Button is just a kid, and he is learning how to lead the life of a cowboy. But as it turns out, he is not that serious. The group realize that they are running out of supplies, but the nearest town is a few miles away. Hence, Boss tasks Mose with riding to the nearest town and fetching the necessary supplies. Button helps the two men tend to the cattle, and Charlie gets back at him for cheating earlier.
What you do that for?
Cheating at cards.
A few hours pass by and the sun is about to set, but Mose still does not come back. Boss suspects that he may be playing poker, but Charlie believes otherwise. Worried, Boss and Charlie head to town, after instructing Button to remain with the cattle. Their dog, Tig, also stays back with Button to give him company. The men arrive in town and hand over their horses to a local stable owner named Percy. There, Charlie spots Mose's rig and asks Percy about Mose.
That's his rig right there.
Oh yeah, know who you're talking about.
To their horror, he tells them that Mose got into a fight with some of the local men and was arrested by Sheriff Poole. Mose is now held in the jailhouse. The men make their payment and arm themselves with rifles. They reach the jailhouse only to be confronted by Sheriff Poole and Denton Baxter, who is the real mastermind of the town. He owns most of the land around town, and Sheriff Poole is in his payroll. It was Baxter's men that Mose had beaten up. He lets them know that free grazers are not welcomed here, and also recounts how a few days ago, a group of free grazers were shot dead.
A few years back, a free graze outfit came through. One night, the cattle got stampeded, the wagons caught on fire, and one of those boys was shot off his horse in the middle of it all.
They finally get to rescue Mose, and Charlie is furious at how several men ganged up on him. Mose needs immediate treatment, and hence he is taken to Dr. Walter Barlow's residence. There, Sue Barlow welcomes them and calls for the doctor. Sue seems attracted to Charlie, but none of them say anything. Boss is about to pay for the treatment, but Dr. Barlow refuses as Mose has done the town a favor by beating Baxter's men.
How much owe you, Doctor?
We're even. I figured I made enough off the damage you did to Baxter's men.
We should have made you wealthy.
The men return to their camp, and Tig welcomes them. But now, Button is missing. Boss is worried, but Charlie believes that he must be riding around and having fun. Sure enough, he returns and is scolded by Boss for wandering alone. They soon notice a few men on horseback, staring at their cattle. They approach them, but the men depart. They understand that those were Baxter's men, and they are here to scatter their cattle and push them out of town.
Well, I figured we can leave the cattle behind and run, or you and me can go out there in the dark and stop them before they scatter the herd. I'll saddle the horses.
The duo decide to ambush those men in the cover of night, and Charlie saddles the horses. The goons were camping in the woods, and were talking about how they ganged up on the poor Mose. Out of the blue, Boss commands them to drop their weapons and cocks his gun.
One twitch, and you're in hell. Now get on your feet, all of you. Now throw them guns on the ground.
Scared, the men oblige. Charlie and Boss come out from hiding and beat up the men one by one. Charlie scares their horses away to ensure that they don't chase them back, and post that, he damages their weapons. Boss orders them to put their belly down and lie in the dirt, but Charlie wants something more.
Charlie? Charlie!
To their utter disbelief, once they return to camp, they are greeted by the sight of Button and Mose lying motionless on the ground. Mose is shot dead, and so is Tig, but Button is still breathing. Boss takes out the bullet and disinfects Button's wound. Charlie insists that Button needs a doctor, but Boss is more interested in killing the perpetrators. Next morning, Charlie digs the graves for Mose and Tig and pay their final respects. That day, Charlie tries to end his story, but Boss stops him in the nick of time. When asked, he replies that he is okay, but Boss knows better. At night, Charlie recalls his childhood and how he got recruited in the army. He admits all the wrong things he did while in uniform, and Boss listens quietly.
Killed my first man in them woods. Held the paper on our farm, and after my pa died, he'd come around and get payment from my mom in any way he could. Not much older than Button when I shot him in the throat.
Next morning, Button regains consciousness but loses it immediately. Worried, Boss agrees to take Button to the town for treatment, and Sue immediately assists them. She displays her nursing skills and deduces that Button is suffering from a concussion in the head, but he needs to lay still and allow his body to recover from the fever.
Well, I don't think it's a fracture. Concussion's more likely, but it's bad.
What about the fever?
He needs to lay still and let his body do its work.
Boss reveals to her how Baxter's men have killed Mose and shot Button, and she feels sorry for the poor boy. Sue asks Charlie about Button's background, and he tells her how they picked him up from the streets. They prefer that Dr. Barlow himself checks on Button, but Sue informs them that Baxter has called him for treating a few injured men. Boss admits that he and Charlie had beaten up those men the previous night, and Sue is amazed. Charlie and Boss are adamant to make Baxter and Sheriff Poole pay for what they did, and set out in the pouring rain. They reach the town's cafe, but the streets are flooded. Just then, they see a dog being swept away by the flood. Charlie immediately jumps in the water, rescues it, and hands it over to the owner. The dog reminds them of Tig, and its owner invites them for a coffee. As the men enjoy coffee, Sheriff Poole enters the same cafe. They try to leave, so as not to disturb the peace of the cafe, but Poole stops them.
You got no quarrel with none of you folks. Baxter's men bushwhacked our friend, shot him dead. Shot a 16-year-old boy, too, and clubbed him so hard, he might not live.
The situation worsens, and Charlie reaches for his pistol. This frightens Poole, and he lets them go. Once outside, Charlie tells Boss that Poole and his men will come after them, and hence he wants to ambush the sheriff inside his office. But Boss is not sure about the idea. Frustrated, Charlie lashes out at him, and he apologizes. The men decide to cool off and visit Button at Sue's house. As usual, Sue welcomes them, and the men have tea. Boss appreciates the tea set, and Sue tells them that they belong to her mother. For the first time, Boss opens up about his past life. He admits that he was once married to a beautiful woman. They also had a child, but unfortunately, they caught typhus and died.
I married once. Had a wife and child. Sweet little spread, too. Nothing fancy, but we was young. Loved each other.
Boss again leaves the two alone and goes to Button. She invites them to stay the night in a spare room, but Charlie denies as it will put her in harm's way. It seems that she is interested in Charlie, and he too feels the same way. But as she is married, he keeps his distance. Meanwhile, Boss spots a bottle of chloroform in the shelves and quietly steals it. At night, Charlie sits on a chair and dozes off to sleep. Sue gently wakes him up, but he gets startled, thinking that it is one of Baxter's men, and pulls his gun on her.
Look at my face.
Sorry, Charlie.
Okay, just be us.
In the process, he breaks her tea set. He apologizes and goes out of the house, followed by Boss. Having nowhere else to go, they pay a visit to the town's saloon, and here we see that Poole's men are well positioned to ambush them. At the saloon, Boss orders drinks, but the barkeep refuses to pour them drinks as the place is owned by Baxter.
Now we'll have our drinks.
Charlie teaches him a lesson, and the barkeep eventually obliges. The man whose dog Charlie had rescued greets them, and the men have small talk. They learn that Sue is not Walter's wife, but his sister. Just then, a shopkeeper joins them, and from him, they learn that the man who shot Mose and Button is Butler, one of Baxter's minions. They leave the saloon, only to be stopped by Percy, who tells them that Poole's men are waiting to ambush them.
Marshall's got men waiting to waylay you back at delivery. Another one's in your wagon, and then there's another in the shed across from it.
He also tells them that Poole is sitting alone in the jailhouse, waiting for his men to bring in Boss and Charlie. Hence, the two men ambush Poole and lock him up inside his own cell. Boss makes him breathe chloroform, and he soon falls asleep. The men sleep inside the jailhouse, but Charlie is woken up by approaching footsteps.
Well, looky here. He's asleep.
No. Looky here.
And Boss locks them inside, alongside Poole. They return to Sue's house and are delighted to find that Button has regained consciousness. He asks for Mose, but is disheartened to learn that he is no more. Sue goes to change, and Charlie spots the mud they have brought with them inside the house. He picks them and hides them under the carpet. His eyes fall on Sue, who is changing her clothes, as the door was left open a little. She gets startled and closes it immediately. Charlie apologizes to her, but she didn't mind. He offers to make breakfast, and the two have small talk. He tells her how they got to know from a shopkeeper that Sue is not married, and she admits the same. The men prepare to leave, but Boss insists that Charlie say something more to her than just a goodbye. Charlie finally opens up to her. She too likes him, and gives him her necklace for good luck. She asks him to return to her, and the men ride away.
I'll be seeing you, Charlie. Wait.
It is the day of the battle, and Baxter frees Sheriff Poole and his men. Before heading to the jailhouse, Boss desires to have some candy, and hence visits a store. The shopkeeper from earlier greets him, and he orders some chocolates and cigars. Charlie is more interested in a book which describes some nice tea sets. He writes something on it, and then takes the paper with him. They visit Percy, and Charlie hands him the paper. Charlie wishes that in case he does not make it out alive, Percy should sell his horses and buy Sue a nice tea set.
If I die, please sell my good horse and my good saddle and my guns to buy a tea set for Miss Barlow. Charlie waved.
Boss and Charlie then have a heart-to-heart conversation. Charlie thanks him for all the kindness that he showed towards him, and he is also thankful to him for always keeping him out of trouble. Charlie has his chocolate, but just then, Percy tells them that 8 men are approaching them. Charlie notices that 3 men are flanking them from the sides, and 5 are approaching head-on. Charlie confronts Butler, and immediately puts a bullet in his head.
You the one killed our friend?
That's right. I shot the boy too, and I enjoyed it.
But Boss also gets shot. Charlie corners Baxter, but he hides inside a house and makes his way to Sue's home. He takes Walter hostage and takes him to the jailhouse. The 3 men flanking from the side fire next, and Charlie is cornered. Boss, although injured, reloads his rifle and shoots one of them through the wooden wall. Charlie shoots the rest of them. One of the men is shot and is now crawling in the mud. Charlie goes to finish him off, but Boss stops him. Sue hears the sound of the gunfight and gets worried for Charlie. She rushes to the spot and finds dead bodies lying all around. Out of the blue, Button arrives at the scene, still not able to walk properly. But Sue gets caught by one of the goons. The townspeople gather up their courage and take up arms against Baxter. Charlie ambushes the man from behind and shoots him dead, rescuing Sue. But now, Baxter is joined by Poole and his men. They take Button hostage, but Sue comes to save him. Baxter demands that the men drop their weapons, but Charlie knows that they will kill Button even if they obey. One of Baxter's men feels the heat and flees the scene. Suddenly, Button picks up a gun lying nearby and shoots, and chaos erupts. Charlie gets shot in the leg, and Baxter takes cover inside the jailhouse. All of Baxter's men are dead, and now he is all alone, injured, hiding inside the jailhouse. Boss charges at the jailhouse while Charlie provides cover fire, and finally the evil man is shot dead. The injured Charlie calls for Sue while he lay inside the saloon. He tells her that he will be riding away within a day or 2. She is taken aback, as she thought that he will be staying around. She confesses her love for him, and he does the same. Charlie rides out of town, but after a few days, returns to Sue. She was gardening, and it comes as a pleasant surprise to her. He wishes to be with her for the rest of their lives, and she pulls him in an embrace.
Will you marry me, Sue?
Yes. I'll marry you.
Boss wishes to move out of cattle business and hence has purchased the saloon, hoping Charlie to be his partner in the business. Sue kisses him, wishes him good luck, and the men ride away to sell the cattle. This is how this brilliant movie comes to a happy ending. If you like this recap, please hit the like button and click on the subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications. Thank you for staying till the end.